Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Born to Chat Shit podcast with your hosts, George and...
Vicks. Or Wicks.
Sorry, what'd you call yourself?
Vicks. I don't know why I said that.
I'll call you Vicks.
Do you?
Wicks. Vicks.
You call me Wicks.
I'll call you Vicks. If I'm pissed off, you'll call you Vicky.
Oh, yeah.
Wiki. People call you Wiki. I used to call you Wiki. Wickers. My parents call you Wickers. Yeah, you've got so many different fucking names. All mine is just George, G, Georgie boy.
Who calls you G?
My dad calls me G. G.
Does he?
Yeah, he messages me G anyway, but he never really... I don't know, actually. Anyway, sorry about that. Welcome back. It's been, obviously, a while. Thank you for everyone who is tuning in. We still get regular weekly downloads on the other ones, which is great, because I get a little notification email coming through saying 60 people have downloaded it this week. So people still do listen to it, which is great. And if you're out for a walk, if you're doing your cardio, whatever it may be right now, I'm hoping you're having a fantastic time and enjoying your 2025. This is the first podcast 2025.
Is it actually?
We've not done one, yeah. So happy 2025. A bit late, we're a month into it now. I can't believe it's been a month.
I know.
Madness, gone by so quickly.
A 12th of the year done.
Yeah, I remember being back in school and I couldn't wait for that 3:30 finish every single day. And now I'm like, I don't ever want it to be 3:30 because time just goes by so quick.
I know, that's how you know you're getting old.
I know. Why does time go? I think time goes a lot quicker when you work for yourself as well. Because if I was working like a 9 to 5 and I hated it, I think time would go by a lot slower. But because we actually enjoy what we do, time goes extra quick.
Yeah.
Feeling old as fuck. Anyway, welcome back. Happy 2025. Hopefully you've started off the year very well, productively, getting towards your goals, all that sort of good stuff. We're going to go for a bit of an update and we promise, all right, I've said this before, and I promise we'll keep this weekly upload coming. But what we will do is we will have certain topics that we will discuss or whatever it may be that you guys may suggest to us as well. We'll do that. But for this episode, we're just going to give you a bit of an update, the plans, what's happening so far, a little bit of a recap of maybe 2024. We went to Thailand, we even mentioned that. And then we'll start building up some momentum with it. So please make sure if you're listening, like on YouTube, rate it on Spotify, iTunes, all that sort of good jazz. So Vix, the question I always ask you.
No, I'm going to start with this one. What have you been up to?
Oh, what have I been up to? So let's recap back to Thailand because we've got some good stories about Thailand. Obviously, it's our second time going to Thailand and...
In the same year. May we highlight.
Pretty mental. I feel like when I first went to Thailand, it was like a lot to take in. And when you go to a place which is 12 hours away on a plane, it's completely different culture, vibe. I even have when I go to Dubai sometimes, it just takes me like 3 or 4 days to like really settle in. But obviously we went back because first of all, we absolutely loved it. And it's just our sort of place, wasn't it? You know, we just found it very just like, this is just us. And I think we would go back every single year now.
I think so, yeah.
Forward. So I think for us going back the second time, we was able to kind of, we knew what was what, we knew where the good places were, and then we could just go back to the places that we wanted to obviously experience.
We felt more like locals. Yeah. That's the best way I can describe it. We knew exactly what everything was, how much things should cost. Like no one could really mug us off when it came to money. We knew where we were going. We did go to a different place actually. We went to Koh Samui, yeah. Which was an island that we didn't actually get to explore last time, but pretty much stayed in Phuket the whole time. Yeah, we did. I really like Phuket. It's a nice place. You've ever been to Phuket? It's great. We hired out some peds this time as well, which was great. We did.
Obviously, first time when we went, I tried riding a ped, and obviously I've never ridden a ped before ever in my life, and you've got to be very gentle on the accelerator. Well,
which I think is quite an obvious thing to do.
I didn't think that. I thought surely these things aren't that quick. So obviously I got on one. Obviously balance was all over the place, and I just literally revved it. And
bear in mind, I am on the back.
Yeah.
And I did ask George before. I said, "Have you ever ridden a ped?" He's like, "Yeah, I did it in Greece." I was like, "Okay, well, you know what? He has. Like, I'm definitely not riding it because I just don't trust myself." And then I get on the back, and he literally revs it, drives it forward, and the woman's like, "No, you've never ridden a bike before, you're coming off." By the way, for anyone that hasn't ridden a bike, please don't do that, and do tell your partner the honest truth of, I rode it once when I was like maybe 13 with my dad, because that's exactly what you did. Anyway, this time around we actually
Listen, I'm the type of person, who, on that front, if you give me 5 minutes with that bloody ped, I'd be able to know exactly what to do. The issue is that everyone was fucking watching me for the first time in like over 10 years riding a ped. Of course I'm going to shit myself. Of course people are going to be... There's just that element of pressure that I had. Whereas this time round, give me 5 minutes on a ped, I was an expert.
This time around, my parents basically came. My dad hired out a ped. My dad also has never ridden a bike before.
Yep.
I don't think he has, but he's very much like, he's like, yeah, I've done it. Anyway, he comes up to the hotel we're staying at, he's got a ped. And initially he gave me the ped first to drive. Mm-hmm. Or ride. How do you use it? Drive? Ride?
Ride.
And I gave it a go and I was actually pretty sick. So George was riding on the back for the first 2 days, and then we hired one out, which was quite cool. Yeah. It was a really good experience actually, because you get to explore more of the place in a different way. I feel like you get more freedom.
I think the element I sort of thought of is like, I remember when I first passed my driving test and I got in the car on my own and I went driving around on my own.
Yeah, I felt like
you have that element of freedom. I felt that when I was riding the ped in Thailand. There's just like a sense of freedom, and to be honest with you, like you can't beat like riding a ped round Asia and just sightseeing and just soaking in the sun and just soaking in the culture. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
It is. So we are definitely going to go back after prep this year.
Yeah, and just like, we hired out a ped a week before we were actually leaving. So the first thing I'm going to do when I get there is get a ped.
Get an international driving license.
International driving license and a ped. So yeah, it was good. It was really, really good and much needed. I think we very much like work hard throughout the year in terms of dedicating a lot to ourselves, to bodybuilding, our routine, our structure. What I really like is we have like a couple of weeks, especially towards the end of the year, mainly Christmas, we've figured out since we've been with each other, where we just sort of like wind down and just have some time off, and I think that's been really good for us, to be honest with you.
We say time off because we still work.
Yeah, we do.
We still work. We mean time off by going to a different country and doing what we love anyway, which is our work, just somewhere else.
And not the pressure of having to go. I mean, we was in Thailand, we went to the gym like 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't go like every single day and, you know, we had 5 meals every single day. You know, we had like 3 meals, if that. We ate when we wanted. We trained if we wanted to. We mainly didn't, and I thought it was good. And when we came back, I was very obviously knackered from travelling, but I was very refreshed mentally.
We were eager to get back.
And I think that's a good thing as well, because I think if you come out of your routine and you don't look forward to going back into your routine, I think that's a bit of an issue, right?
Yeah, I don't think you love it then. Don't get me wrong, some people are just burnt out to the point where they need a little bit longer, but you should be eager and you should be excited to get back into a routine, because ultimately that routine is what carries you quite a lot of the time. But yeah, I think it's important to take time off for the majority of people. I think some people are very robotic and they don't like taking time off because they just like that routine, but that's just not us. And it's not that we don't like the routine, it's literally just, I think it's important to remember that, for me anyway, I can't speak for you, but there is a shelf life on bodybuilding, and I also want to remember how to live like a quote-unquote like normal person. Even after I stop bodybuilding, I know I'm still going to eat really well and I'm still going to go and train. I'm still going to do all of these things, but it's without that pressure of the rigid structure every single day. So I took my foot off the gas and I just felt so good coming back. Like training since then has been pretty good, and I feel like routine's been locked in and I want to be within that routine more.
Do you know what I'm deep in right now?
What?
I'm deep in like when that bodybuilding, like that bodybuild lifestyle comes to an end and I don't need to be as regimented and as routine, as structured and eating the meals that I am, I think I actually really struggle. Because I'm thinking about it right now. I'm thinking about it right now and I'm like, fucking hell, like, obviously we get up at 4 a.m. Like, what, am I going to just wake up at 6? Like, and not like...
So you wake up at 6, like that's late.
Yeah, but that is late for us, you know? Like, I'm thinking, fuck, like... How am I actually going to... And I'm sure many people could probably relate to this right now, like actually stopping being this person that you've been... Basically, your identity for like, what, 20 years plus,
But that's
maybe?
why it shouldn't be your identity.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm very big on. I think I am Wix and I am a bodybuilder. Like I bodybuild, like I am not a bodybuilder, and I think it's very easy for it to become your identity because of how much you pour into it, to this, and it's not necessarily a bad thing that it's such a big part of your life because you love it and you enjoy it, but that is why taking time off is really important to remind you what it will most likely be like after you stop.
Yeah.
And by the way, you don't have to jump from an all or nothing mentality. You don't have to stop bodybuilding one day and suddenly turn into a mess and don't get out of bed until like midday.
You're still
going to have that routine.
Yeah, it's like I'm either doing it or I'm not doing it, you know what I mean?
No, I think it's going to be a stepwise approach. Obviously, it's going to be end of the competing career. You're still probably going to be bodybuilding after that for a little bit. Then you're going to focus more on business. I think with our personality types, there is always going to be something to focus on.
Yeah, there is obviously going to be other priorities and other focuses at that moment of time. I think that's always something that I've always struggled with over the years, is like I've made bodybuilding my identity, and only since I've met you, like before I met you, the last holiday that I went on, obviously I met Vick when I was 24, 25. The last holiday I went on was on at 18.
Yeah, and I remember speaking to you and I was like, how the hell is this relationship going to work? Because I train hard, I do all of these, like I love this lifestyle, but I still quote unquote like live life.
Whereas it was just, I was like engraved, if I go off plan, I'm a shit bodybuilder, I'm a failure. And that's what engraved in me for the first like 5 years.
But don't you think you've made more progress since being a tad bit more flexible?
Yeah, I definitely have, yeah.
There you go.
But what I'm trying to say is that in those all or nothing sort of like your identity moments, it's hard to come away from that, because you automatically think that if you're doing less, you're not going to make as much progress. Does that make sense? If I'm not committed to much,
but there's
as much,
other ways you can make progress in life other than just bodybuilding.
Yeah, but it's hard, and it's a deep one. I'm sure there are people that can maybe relate to what I'm saying.
Oh, I relate to it massively.
Yeah.
Like even me stepping away from my junior doctor training, bear in mind that has been an identity that I've wanted since the moment I can remember. Like I've always wanted to be a doctor in hospital, and stepping away from that, and I was literally like, who am I? And that is where I had a little bit of a breakdown, because I was like, well, if I give this up, what the hell? Like, you know, when I broke up with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and that's when I knew I didn't want to do medicine anyway, and I was like, right, now I'm not a girlfriend, now I'm not this, now I'm not that. I was literally just me, and I was sort of like, I felt sort of like naked, because I had no identity to me at that time. But that's when I actually found who I was.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, if I get injured and I don't know, say for example, no, I'm not going to wish anything on, but say I get really injured and I can't do bodybuilding, I know I'm going to be upset for some time. That's only normal. That's obviously a normal reaction to the situation, because it means a lot to me, but I know I'll be fine.
Yeah. Whereas I don't think I would be.
I don't think you would be, but we'll get you there.
But yeah, we'll work on it. It's a work in progress. That's how I like to call it. So yeah, we went off on one there. Thailand, very good. Would 100% recommend. Cheap as fuck. So much more freedom. No one gives a shit. As long as you aren't causing trouble and being a dickhead, like some people do. As long as you keep yourself to yourself, you're good. That's how I sort of view it.
People are so polite and they're so nice and they're so helpful.
To be fair, I found this time round people were ruder than the first time round.
Oh, let's not mention that woman.
What woman?
That knocked my bike.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we had a situation. I had a bike crash. Well, I wasn't on the bike, but this is me telling a story all over. I'm so dramatic. My bike was on the opposite side of the road, and there was a woman that reversed her car into it, and she was a local Thai lady. And she starts driving off, and I am the only person that sees this. Like me, George, my whole family were sat at the table, and I see this because I can't, when people talk and there's too much going on, I focus on everything around me, an ADHD trait. Anyway, it actually served me well this time. She starts driving off. I sprint up this hill like I'm Mo Farah or something. Honestly, I sprint after this car, and I'm like, stop, stop, stop. She comes out, and she says, you're not going to do anything because my son is in the police. And I was like, all right, we've got ourselves into a little bit.
And by the way, if you've never been to Thailand before, it's a little bit corrupted over there in terms of like the policing and stuff.
Yeah, my bike's knocked over. It's damaged. It's got scratches on there. Her car is damaged anyway. That's actually true this time around, but I think it's because there's more tourists. And I'm not going to lie, if I was a local in Thailand and I saw the amount of tourists and how much they were damaging that place because of litter, because of just poor behaviour, I wouldn't like us either.
So we went in May last time, late April, early May, the first time we went, and then this time obviously went at Christmas. If I had a choice, I would go between April and May time, because it's just 100%. Before the rainy season, and it's nowhere near as busy in my opinion, whereas Christmas time, super, super busy. A lot of tourists, including myself. Anyway, but yeah, that was good fun. And we had a good time there, and we felt very recharged. And then since then, we've been back on the old grind as it is. So give us a bit of an update of where you are right now since you've been back.
Just deep into off-season now. Food's up. Food's up by actually a significant amount from last time. I'm eating well. 2,800 on a training day, around 2,500 on a rest day.
Nice.
Which is pretty decent. I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
Still ready for my foods. I don't feel like I'm in an off season, but I know I am. Training is on the rise. I'm actually progressing very, very nicely at the moment. A little bit of niggles this week in my hamstrings, my lower back. I like to downplay things. I don't like to tell George if I'm injured because I know he'll pull back my volume, which he did this week in today's check-in actually. So volume's come down a little bit just because I am doing too much. I get ahead of myself and I think that I can recover from things. And I can in terms of my muscle soreness. I don't get sore, but I get injured. So training's been going well up until this week. I know it'll be fine from next week. We had a massage today and I do feel a little bit better. And yeah, that's pretty much me. Just rinse and repeat. The week's going by really quickly.
And what's your goals and plans for this year? You need to tell the people.
My goals and plans for this year, I'll be prepping in around 7-8 weeks time, depending on when George tells me to prep. Still haven't chosen my shows. I'm still undecided when it comes to that. I'm just literally diving into prep, trying to get lean and
we're having basically, so if anyone doesn't know, me and Vicky are coaching each other this year. So we've been coaching each other for a little bit, but it's been, really sort of locked in this year, I would say. Vicky's goal, my goal for her this year is I'm not going to set her you need to do this show or you need to do that show. I'm going to very much play it like I did in my 2024 prep, and I basically just got stage lean and I was like, right, okay, what show falls in line with kind of where I think I'll be at that time? And I was like, okay, the 26th of September or whatever it was. And I just did that show. And for me, that took away so much pressure because I've worked in the past with, for example, I know what show I'm doing at the beginning of the year. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm 20 weeks out, I'm 16 weeks out, 12 weeks out, 8 weeks out. And then as you get into the single figures, you start to shit yourself a little bit because you're like, am I going to be ready? And then the other aspect as well is you go on social media and you see other people that are competing in 9 weeks time. You start to think, well, hang on, they're probably maybe doing the same show as me. And then you start looking at them and thinking, well, fucking hell, they're a lot leaner than what I am. I need to get my arse in gear. I might not be on track. And then all of a sudden you're doubting yourself. Then all of a sudden it just goes pear fucking shape. And then you end up trying to do some weird and wacky stuff. And what a lot of people will then do is they'll then start cheating on their diet, and not in cheating their diet in a bad way, but in a bad way as well, but they'll start eating less than what they should do to try and play catch up, trying to get leaner. And then all of a sudden they get to the end of the prep, and if they just follow the plan in the first place, they would have done far much better than just kind of going, oh fuck, matey boy's a bit leaner than me, I need to now sort myself out. And then they get to the end of the prep and they're completely burnt out. So anyway, long story short, that was waffling completely.
That was.
But anyway, long story short, what we're going to get Vicky to do is we're just going to get a stage lean. I've got a kind of rough idea in my head, but I'm not going to tell her that, but I'm just going to get her to do what she needs to do. Okay, that's the show that I want you to do. I'm going to figure that out maybe 3 weeks until which I believe she'll be ready. And she just doesn't need to think, she doesn't need to compare, because that's Vicky's, in my opinion, big issue is she's like, I'm not on track, I'm 8 weeks out and I'm looking like this, I should be leaner. It creates that self-doubt, cortisol's elevated in the body, and then all of a sudden...
And when I'm stressed, my body does not like it at all. Her body does not
respond at all. Whereas I'm just going to say, look, just treat it like every sort of casual day diet, if you know what I mean. There's no pressure of you having to step on stage.
Yeah, because I don't struggle with the diet aspect of things. I know I can eat very little. I don't actually get that hungry. I think I'm hungry, but I'll actually just have 3 bites and I'm fine. Cardio-wise, don't really care. Training-wise, don't really mind. For me, it's just the pressure of the countdown, I think.
Yeah, I think the thing with you, Vicky, is like Vicky assumes that she needs to do hours of cardio every single day and she needs to be on like 1,000 calories every single day. She's created this like thought in her fucking head. She needs to be doing this because she's done it before. Okay?
Yeah, my last prep.
She thinks her 2022 prep, she was fucking starving. She was on very little calories. She was doing crazy amounts of cardio. We just dieted and dieted last year. She lost like 14 kilos of scale weight. And by the end of it, she was eating way more food than what she initially planned out, and she was doing fucking no cardio at all. So it was just like, well, you don't even need to do anything. And you know, in our last fucking, you know, I was on prep and I was having a Reese's Pieces and bloody minstrels in my oats every single night before I went to bed. I still got fucking shredded. Vicky was doing that as well. She's still making progress. So she has like this assumption, like, I'm willing to do whatever it needs to do this. I'm going to have 800 calories every single day and do 2 hours of cardio every single day. She doesn't need to fucking do it. She creates this like false analogy and situation in her head that she has to do it. And it kind of like, she tries to force herself to do it. Oh, my scale weight's not dropping. I need to drop food. No, you don't. You should need to be patient and stick with the process.
I'll be one day into the diet, but I don't have any abs. I need to eat 800 calories.
Literally, that's Vicky all over. So it's
it's so annoying because I know what you're saying is right.
Yeah.
And as a coach, I know that what you're doing is right because that's exactly the same thing that I do with my clients. When it comes to me, I just have this like internal thing that I need to suffer. But I know it's so bad. I'm very aware of it and I won't be doing it this prep. Like for me, my main goals, because a lot of people do ask me, what are your goals for this prep? Like what do you want into place, etc. And of course I want to do well. But I'm also very aware that this is my first official prep where I'm going to be stepping on stage. Obviously, I did one in 2022, but I pulled out like 2 weeks before my show or like 3 weeks before my show. Whereas this time, of course, I'm committing to it and I'm actually stepping up on stage. My goals are to just see where I stand really. Like set the bar high for myself and work from there because the first prep is always about just setting the standard for yourself and then any prep after that is about progressing. So I'm not going into this prep like wanting a particular placing. I say that now, I'm going to completely change my train of thought by next week, by next podcast. I'll be like, oh, I want best placing. No, I'm telling myself something different. I'm going in, I'm doing my best, but the main priority is just to enjoy prep and just have a really good time. Like what I want to get out of this prep is just a completely different, resilient me at the end of it. Like physique wise, I know that's going to happen because you're in charge of that. And I know you won't let me get on stage out of shape or not in condition. That's something I don't need to worry about. But my very true intrinsic goal is to be faced with challenges throughout the prep, for example, stressing about my scale weight not going down and having a mental breakdown, and actually learning how to manage those emotions much better to the point where I don't have a breakdown and I can handle the challenges life faces at me. I know that's quite like a deep thing to say, but that's what like I want to come out of this prep and know exactly how to handle situations when I don't feel like I've got anything in me. Like I feel very emotional and all of these things, so I can transfer that to the other aspects of my life.
Yeah, I would say there's two goals that I have for you in mind. It will be one.
Yeah, you've actually not told me this. What are you expecting out of my prep?
I'm expecting you to go on stage and not look like a first timer. That's my goal. Is expecting you to turn up, regardless of where you place or whatever. You just look like you've been doing it for years. That's the ultimate goal for you. You know, posing, just like the look. It doesn't look like someone who hasn't, especially with fucking, for example, PCA wellness, you know, it's, in my opinion, sorry for anyone that's done it, it's fucking shambolic. Is that the right word? Shambolic?
Yeah, it can be the right word.
We'll just run with that, whatever that word means. So my goal is for you to step on stage and people are like, this girl, you do your first time? Surely not. Like that's the goal, regardless of where you're placed, that's the goal. And the second goal for me is actually figuring out whether you enjoy it or not. Because you've actually never been up on stage, and I know that you will, but there may be a chance where you go, actually, you know what? I've done that, it isn't for me. And actually figuring out.
I don't think that's going to be the case because of how competitively I did gymnastics.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And obviously we had like the floor routine, and that's where the whole crowd was just looking at you perform something, and I loved it. Like that was my element. I used to live for the competitions. I used to love training, don't get me wrong, but the competitions was something that just brought me so much joy.
Yeah.
I always loved it. I was always a little bit of like center of attention.
Yeah,
Shock.
you do. Vicky does love us, and she's like, if it's Spotlight's not on her, she's.
That's not true. That's you. Like, I actually watch back this podcast. You have waffled, not me. You always interrupt me.
And by the way, Vicky said to me before the podcast, you need to carry this podcast because I'm feeling under the weather. So that's the reason for it, okay? So
no,
she's coming to me saying,
no,
I'm trying to carry it, and it's been back fucking fired in my face now.
Come cuddle me.
This is not gone to plan. So yeah, looking forward to prepping you. I'm just, hoping you bloody don't get in the head too much. That's my biggest concern. You just trust the process and let me do my sort of thing.
I know, because I'm already in my head, I'm like, I've got like 7 weeks left of my improvement season.
Comes around quick.
I know, it does.
Comes around bloody quick.
And I'm starting prep by myself because Georgia Boy's too lean.
I know. So yeah, I don't even know when I'm starting prep. What time frame? June time?
Yeah.
Around that sort of time. So I've got quite a fair bit of time to grow, which is exciting. I think the issues that we're going to have, if I'm honest with you, is that you're going to be eating less and maybe doing more, and seeing me eating more and doing less is going to be quite tricky. I guess
you have to start prep with me then.
I'd start prep with you and just fucking be shredded for about 12 weeks. That'd be brilliant. That'd be dreadful, actually, as I think about it, because that would just, my life would be absolutely shit, and I don't think it's maintainable anyway. Anything else you want to add?
No, I don't know what I've said anymore. I forgot what I said.
I was like, don't pause. I was thinking then when I looked at you, don't pause too long because we're on a podcast. So remember that people will actually be, have their phones in their pocket and they'll walk.
Sorry, guys.
And they'll probably start if they see a pause in the podcast, they'll probably check the phone to actually see if it's playing or not. I'm
ill. Allow it.
Allow it. You've never said that in your life. Allow it.
Allow it.
What is this? This new Vicky coming out of the podcast.
Yeah, allow it, bro.
So I may as well mention a little bit about me for the last 5 minutes or so. So yeah, I am week 6 into the off season now, which is good. I'm up 7 kilos above stage weight. I was 70.8 on stage last year, and now I'm about 77. But I'm very close to the weight that I started at my sort of first prep I did in 2019. I think I was around about 80 kilos, 79 kilos when I started that prep. So it's cool to see the progress that I've made over the years with my physique, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we just had a bit of a food increase. My food just seems to be needing to go up all the time, which is standard for me. I told myself at the beginning of this year that I don't need to push food nowhere near as much food as what I usually would do. But Vick's just increased my food up to 4,000 on a train day now. So I've just always been that person that just needs more, for my size, bear in mind, 77 kilos, 5'5", eating 4,000 calories a day is quite a hefty amount for someone my size. So it's a bit of a pain in the arse for me. It's a good thing because I get to eat more food, which when I'm hungry is great. But when I don't have an appetite, it's shit because I need to try and shovel the food in to gain any sort of weight. I think the last off season when I was 91 kilos was 4.6k calories, which, your day sort of just sort of evolves around eating. You just can't think, if you fuck up for the day or whatever, or you're behind the day, then you've got to push your meals back, and it's just a bit of a, I don't like to do it if it fits your macros and just fucking eat whatever I want in that sort of meal if I'm behind. I'm right, I need to follow my sort of structure that I've got, which could be an issue in itself. But yeah, fucking waffling. 4,000 calories on train day, 3.5 on a rest day, 3.7 on a rest day. Oh, you've bumped my food up pretty drastically then.
You've got those 3 crumpets in the morning that I don't.
Oh yeah, Vicky's so basically we had a bit of drama earlier, me and Vick's, okay, in the middle of Lidl basically, and everyone was looking at us. So basically Vicky decided to add crumpets into my first meal on a rest day, okay? Previously we weren't having any crumpets, it's just a protein fat meal, okay? She decides to add crumpets in, and then she attacks me because I've not added in crumpet.
Attack you?
You did attack me.
I didn't attack you. You didn't add any food into my and I'm hungry and I want food, and Georgia hasn't given me any food, so I said, now you're not having a food increase.
Yeah, so basically she threatened me saying I'm not having a food increase now after she increased my food.
Bear in mind, it's that time of the month and I'm allowed to feel that way, okay?
Okay, all right. So,
okay.
Yeah, anyway, so food's there. Training's been going well, pretty good. Seeing some good progressions, which for me at the moment is just touching new weights every single week, but keeping my form good. I think the issue that I've had when I've gone down the assisted route and gone on cycle is that I've gone way beyond than what my body can handle, and that's where injuries start to rise.
You've not even mentioned that you started a cycle.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I have started my first proper cycle, off-season cycle. Obviously, you guys who followed the channel for a while, I did go assisted in 2022. I did come off for a decent amount of time, and I've decided to go back on this year. So I'm like 2 weeks into that at the moment now, which has been cool. And I haven't kind of, in a way, like, I picked up so many injuries after my prep going on cycle. It was one of the worst times of my life, to be honest with you, when it comes to injuries. Like, I had knee problems, what problems did I have? Elbow problems. I was progressing so quickly that my body just couldn't handle it. So this time round, I've told myself, don't get ahead of yourself, because it's so easy just to go, oh, that feels light today. I'm just going to fucking double the amount of weight that I'm doing. But you need to remember that, you know, your tendons, they don't progress, or what we spoke about actually in the post yesterday, your muscles are always going to be stronger, and that's where, you know, tears happen. You see a lot of like pec tears and bicep tears that people have through just gaining too quickly, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, being patient when it comes to that. And obviously my plan is to prep again and go on stage this year, which, to be honest with you, I've never done like a back-to-back prep ever before. It's never something that I've really believed in. But at the same time, like, I'm 27 now, 28 this year, in a couple of months. Before Vicky butts in and tells me that.
In 2 months.
In 2 months, reminds me. And YOLO, innit? I only live once. And if I can go on stage and compete as much as I can, then I'm going to do that at the end of the day, because I love competing. I love pushing myself in that aspect. The day is a little bit boring in itself, but the actual like documenting of the prep, I absolutely fucking love it. I really thrive in a prep I do. It's really, really enjoyable. So yeah, I'll be stepping on stage again. We're going to do the same show. So I've got a show in my back of my head that I want to do. Yeah, we'll do the same thing.
Are you going to do my first ever show? Are you going to do the same show?
If you do a first timers, then I can't do a first timers.
I'm not doing a first timers.
Yes, well, we haven't.
The secret's out.
Well, we've been and ahhing, so we'll figure that out. And I'm hoping we can do a show together this year, and also hoping that we can compete abroad this year somewhere as well.
Are we competing abroad?
Yeah, I think, why the fuck not? Go for it.
I'll go Poland.
Can go Poland if you want. We do whatever the fuck we want around here. That's what we do. So yeah, all is going very, very well, and I'm hoping if you have been watching the YouTubes, you've been enjoying the series that I've been posting. Very much enjoying making content again, which has been great.
Cheeky plug.
So Vicky started YouTube as well.
I started YouTube, and my YouTube is better than George's and is more entertaining, and I provide more value, and you should unsubscribe to George and you should subscribe to me.
Yeah, basically just do that.
I'm joking.
If you go watch my stuff, just make sure you watch Vicky's as well, because Vicky's much better at vlogging than what I am, that's for sure. So yeah, really all is going well, and I think what we'll do is round it up there, because I want to use this as an opportunity just to kind of get the ball rolling. And what we can do from next week is actually come up with a topic. Like, I think one of our most downloaded podcasts is the relationship and bodybuilding one, which is quite interesting, and how we manage. What did I just say then? Manage. Manage. How we manage a relationship in bodybuilding. So we'll definitely do some like interesting conversations and topics that, you know, maybe as a couple we deal with throughout bodybuilding, you know. So if there's any suggestions that you guys have got, let us know in the comments. If you're on YouTube, drop us a message on Instagram or whatever it may be, and we'll happily discuss it in more information, in more detail. Dickhead. So I am going to leave it there. Anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you so much for everyone who continues to listen to these, because it's actually crazy the response that we've had when the podcast goes quiet. Yeah. Everyone's like, where's the podcast? Every single time I put a Q&A, it's where's the podcast? So thank you so much for listening, and we'll keep these coming, because
I sit there and go, when I turn off the camera, I'm just sitting there and go, I ask you, how did that go? Do you think it went all right? That went good? And I'm like, I felt like I fucking went shit. But people are like, oh my God, that was amazing. I'm just like,
I think it's because we just chat. We chat together, and it is like, when you guys listen to this, we just want it to be like you are within this room, like with us, and you're just having a little chit chat, because we appreciate we can't speak to just like everyone all the time. Yeah. And I hate fake shit anyway. I hate fake shit. Like, people just like, I don't know, pipe up for the camera or whatever. Just shush it. That's what I say. So we are going to allow it.
Yeah, just, Yeah, comment down below, allow it if you've listened and watched the whole fucking thing. Right, we've got green beans, we've got Brussels sprouts, we've got jasmine rice, and we've got salmon waiting for us after this. Meal number 4 is happening at like 3:30, and then we're gonna have our last meal, and we're gonna go to bed about 7. And what a day that's gonna be! And Vicky's yawning already. Anyway, please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, bye everyone, bye.
Bye.
Oh.